dirty ass Hindu.
Why are you coming to the white man's land?
Go back to India. We don't want you here.
Anti-Hindu hate, anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim hate or sectarianism are some of the widely used powerful words that leave a deep scar on the targeted communities. To be a little more specific, among all of these, Hindu phobia has gained quite some attention in the near past, especially after the Leicester violence in UK, anti-Hindu bullying incidents or the disqualification of Karan Kataria and Rashmi Samant from leading the prestigious British universities. The West has never given due notice or attention to the anti-Hindu hate prevalent in their institutions. No dedicated reports or investigations had ever been done before to inquire into the abusive and anti-Hindu propaganda in the UK. The question here is, what is anti-Hindu hate? Let us know about it from a report of UK-based think tank itself. Hello and welcome, I am Shreya and you're watching the Pamphlet. A recently published report by the Henry Jackson Society has given some shocking revelations about the anti-Hindu hate in British schools. Educational institutions which are supposed to be the harbour of neutral spaces for the communities of every faith have actually become the places for anti-Hindu bullying, hate crime and targeted abuse. The first of its kind report, its lead author Charlotte Littlewood, during the live session of the report launch, highlighted how the Hindu community had been at the center stage of communal targets in the UK. The inspiration to come up with such a report was last year's communal violence in Leicester, where a false narrative was created around Hindutva. Anti-Hindu abuses and slogans were raised, resulting in the attacks on Hindu temples and properties. The report also cited the findings from several schools of Britain. According to the findings, 51% of the surveyed parents of Hindu students stated that their child had experienced anti-Hindu hate in schools, while on the other hand, only 1% of schools with Indian students reported any anti-Hindu related incidents in the past 5 years. Another question here is why these schools have failed to report the anti-Hindu abusive incidents. The reason is somewhat reflected in the section 375(3) of the Education Act 1996, which requires the religious education syllabus to reflect the fact that the religious traditions of Great Britain are in main Christian, whilst taking account of the teaching and practices of the other principal religions represented in Great Britain. This could be understood from a highlight of the report, which tells that the schools have been using a reductant and prejudiced approach towards Hinduism in the classroom, which is a matter of concern. Only about 19% of Hindu parents believe that the schools are able to identify anti-Hindu hate, and around 15% believe that the schools adequately address anti-Hindu incidents. Some abusive and physical assault incidents that have been reported are: one girl had a beef thrown at her just because she was a Hindu, and another male student had to change his schools thrice in East London due to anti-Hindu bullying. There were other cases reported as well, where the Christian peers demeaned their Hindu fellow mates by using statements like, "Jesus will send your gods to hell," while the Muslim peers threatened the Hindus that if they do not convert into Islam, then the bullying would persist. Such anti-Hindu slurs and xenophobic attitudes towards the youth is a shame on the West, who have been showing their ignorance. Not only this, but the report also revealed the findings of the Network Contagion Research Institute that mentioned how the media outlets have played quite a belligerent role in the civil unrest in the state. The Western media termed British Hindus as aggressive, hyper-nationalist, fascist, cow-piss drinkers and whatnot. All these racial abuses have stirred up at a time when in a parallel Western world, US cities like Georgia and Vermont have passed a resolution condemning Hindu phobia and anti-Hindu bigotry. These have been some stupendous acts that could now give Hindu society a ray of hope. The release of this first of its kind study should now be used as an authentic source for the government to have a standardized parameter for identifying anti-Hindu hate, as the incidents have been more widespread than thought. Lastly, the report has also shown concern about the future escalation of such tensions amidst the upcoming 2024 Indian elections. The conspiracies against the Hindutva elements might see a drastic increase in the coming months. Identifying the root of cause is just the first step. There's still a long way for the West to go report and take stern measures against the anti-Hindu elements who have left no stone unturned in mortifying a particular community and its religious sentiments.